ready to unlock your creative potential. We're diving deep into Cleon's Steal Like an Artist.
Well, a really insightful summary of it from Book Ginger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn why stealing could actually be your secret weapon to becoming more creative.
And how boredom, of all things.
Right. Boredom can actually help you make something amazing.
It's all about flipping the script on what we think we know about creativity.
I love that. So first up,
Yeah.
let's unpack this whole steal like an artist thing.
It sounds kind of rebellious, right?
A little bit, yeah. What's the real deal here?
Well, Cleon's definitely not advocating plagiarism.
Oh, okay, good to know.
What he's saying is every creative work out there builds on what came before.
I can see that.
Like, think about Renaissance artists.
Yeah.
They honed their skills by copying the masters.
Oh, right.
Or musicians, they sample bits of existing songs to make something totally new.
So it's like we're all part of this big creative conversation.
Exactly.
Building on each other's ideas and inspiration.
Yeah, and Cleon encourages us to, like, embrace our influences, study them, and then add our own unique twists.
So we're not expected to come up with something entirely new from scratch.
Nope. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, right?
I love that idea.
It's about taking those existing elements and making them into something fresh, something that's uniquely you.
That is incredibly liberating. I mean, it feels like you're giving us permission to draw inspiration from everywhere.
Absolutely.
Mix it up and find our own voice in the process.
And speaking of finding your voice, Cleon has some pretty insightful advice on how to actually start creating.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Even when you don't know where to begin, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He challenges that whole find yourself before you do anything idea.
You mean that feeling of being stuck, like you're overthinking and planning so much that you never actually get started?
Yeah, that analysis paralysis.
That's been there.
Cleon's like, forget the perfect plan, actionize the plan.
Whoa, I like that.
Just jump in, embrace the uncertainty, and figure it out as you go.
He makes it sound like an adventure.
He actually calls it an adventure.
That's such a good way to look at it. It reminds me of learning to ride a bike.
How so?
You can read all you want about balance and pedaling,
Yeah.
but you'll never actually learn until you just get on and try.
That's the point he's making. By taking action, you discover your passions, your strengths,
Right.
and even your creative voice along the way.
It all just unfolds organically.
Exactly.
So instead of waiting for that aha moment,
Right.
the key is to just show up and let the work guide you.
And here's where Cleon's advice might surprise you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Especially in our digital world, he emphasizes using your hands in the creative process.
Wait, put down the devices and actually make something physical.
That's what he says.
In this day and age.
I know, it sounds radical, right?
It does. What's the thinking behind that?
He argues that when you do things like drawing, sculpting, even just doodling,
Yeah.
you activate different parts of your brain. You spark new connections that you just might miss when you're on a screen.
I can see that. There's something about that tactile experience.
Right.
The feel of materials. It gets those creative juices flowing in a different way.
It's like you bypass all the overthinking and tap into a more playful energy.
Like that.
Cleon even talks about exploring new avenues, overcoming those creative roadblocks by getting your hands dirty, literally.
So it's about embracing the messiness, trying new things without that pressure to make it perfect right away.
Exactly. And you know what else Cleon says is crucial for unlocking your creativity?
What's that?
Those side projects that we tend to put on the back burner.
You mean the things we think of as hobbies?
Yeah.
The unproductive stuff.
Yeah. Why do you think he focuses on those?
Well, I guess because they're where we can really let loose and explore without any pressure.
He argues that's where true creative freedom lives.
It's like a playground for experimenting.
Exactly. It's a space to discover hidden talents.
And recharge your creative batteries.
He sees them as fuel for your creative fire.
That takes away the guilt, you know? It's not wasting time.
Right.
It's actually nurturing our creativity.
And once you've been creating, experimenting, working on those side projects, Cleon has one more piece of advice.
Okay, lay it on me.
And this one can feel a little scary. Share your work.
Ooh, yeah, that vulnerability is real.
Putting yourself out there can be intimidating.
It can be terrifying.
But I bet Cleon has a different perspective on why we should share.
I'm sure he does. What's his take?
He says it's not about looking for validation or applause.
Okay.
It's about inviting feedback, sparking new ideas, and connecting with other people who get it.
Other creatives who understand this struggle.
Exactly. It's like throwing your ideas out into the world and seeing what comes back.
What resonates, what new connections you make.
He even uses the phrase iron sharpens iron.
Ooh, I like that.
When we share our work, we open ourselves up to constructive criticism, to different perspectives, potential collaborations we never even imagined.
So we could find mentors, collaborators, a whole network of support we wouldn't have otherwise.
Exactly. He emphasizes that getting over that fear of judgment is key.
To really connecting with others.
And embracing the generosity of the creative process.
Okay, so we've covered stealing, starting before you're ready, using your hands.
Don't forget embracing side projects.
Oh, right, and sharing your work.
Whoa, that's a lot.
What other counterintuitive wisdom does Cleon have for us?
We'll get ready for this one. He says to be boring.
Boring. That doesn't exactly scream creative genius.
It sounds crazy, right?
It does.
But what he means is that having a consistent routine, even if it seems mundane,
Correct.
can actually unlock those bursts of creativity.
So it's about creating a structure that frees up your mental space.
For the good stuff.
Exactly.
Like if you're a writer, maybe you sit down at your desk at the same time every morning.
Even if you don't feel inspired.
Even if. The key is consistency.
So showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it.
Creates space for the magic to happen.
I can see that. It's like laying the groundwork.
He uses a great analogy for this, too.
What is it?
It's like taking care of a garden.
Okay.
Weeding and watering might not be exciting, but they're crucial for the flowers to bloom.
So it's about creating the right conditions for your creativity to thrive.
Exactly. And speaking of creating the right conditions, Cleon's final piece of advice might blow your mind.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
He says that creativity is subtraction.
All right. Now I'm really intrigued. What does he mean by that?
Our instinct is usually to add more to our work.
More details, more features, more everything.
Right. We think it makes it better.
Yeah, I'm totally guilty of that.
But Cleon argues that sometimes the real key is taking things away.
So simplifying, refining, getting down to the pure essence of the idea.
You got it. It applies to everything, not just writing or art.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, think about it. Sometimes the most powerful sentences are the shortest, most direct ones.
That's true.
Or in design.
Yeah.
Sometimes a minimalist approach can be so elegant and impactful.
Much more than a cluttered design.
He uses this brilliant analogy of a sculptor chipping away at marble.
Oh, I love that.
You start with a block, and you chip away anything that isn't essential.
Until you reveal the masterpiece inside.
Exactly.
It's a reminder to be ruthless with our own work.
Let go of the things that aren't truly serving the core idea.
It's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
And I can see how it applies to so much more than just creative stuff.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our exploration of Steal Like an Artist.
But don't go anywhere just yet, because in part 2, we're going to delve into the practical side of things.
We'll be exploring how to apply these mind-bending ideas to your own creative journey.
It's going to be awesome, so make sure to tune in for that. Welcome back. We're diving deeper into the practical side of Steal Like an Artist.
Yeah, how to actually use this stuff.
Exactly. And, one thing that really stuck with me was how Cleon emphasizes connecting with other creatives.
It's so true.
Even though these fields can feel pretty solitary sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
It goes back to that idea of stealing, being more about inspiration and transformation.
Not straight up copying.
Right. So surrounding yourself with other people's work.
It's not just about imitation. It's about sparking new ideas.
And seeing how they tackled problems you might be facing too.
Absolutely. It's like we can't create in a vacuum.
Nope. We need that cross-pollination of ideas, that inspiration from engaging with what others are doing.
And it goes beyond just consuming their work,
What do you mean?
It's about actively engaging with it.
Oh, okay.
Asking questions, having conversations, even respectfully critiquing what you see.
Ah, that's how we learn and grow.
Exactly. And Cleon even talks about the importance of having a genius.
A genius, that sounds way cooler than just a lone genius.
It is. It's like a creative ecosystem.
I like that.
A whole community of artists, writers, thinkers, makers.
All supporting and inspiring each other.
Yeah. It's recognizing that creativity thrives on collaboration.
Where ideas can bounce back and
We
forth.
get feedback, push each other further.
So how do we actually find this genius?
It could be as simple as joining a writer's group,
Okay.
going to workshops, industry events.
Even just chatting with creative friends?
Exactly. And honestly, technology makes it even easier now.
You mean like online communities and stuff?
Yeah. Forums, virtual meetups, workshops, the possibilities are endless.
I love how that shifts the focus from competition to collaboration.
Right.
It's not about being the best or the most original,
It's about adding your unique voice to the conversation.
and by sharing our work, being part of that genius.
We help ourselves and contribute to a collective creative energy.
Who knows what amazing things could come from those connections?
Right.
Okay, so connecting and collaborating, got it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get practical first.
Okay. Good idea.
Cleon gives a lot of great advice, but where do we even begin applying it to our own lives?
One of the most powerful things is to start paying attention to your influences.
Influences, okay.
Like, who are the artists, writers, musicians, whoever,
Yeah.
whose work really resonates with you?
Whose work makes you think, I wish I had made that?
Exactly. It's like tracing your creative DNA.
What makes up your unique creative voice?
Yeah. And once you have a clearer sense of those influences, you can start to see patterns, connections.
Okay.
Maybe you're drawn to certain colors in art or a particular writing style.
Or a certain way of composing music.
Yes. By becoming more aware of those things.
We can incorporate them into our own work.
In a way that feels authentic and intentional.
Not just blindly copying, but understanding what speaks to us on a deeper level.
And then expressing it through your own lens.
That leads perfectly into another practical tip from Cleon, keeping a swipe file.
Ooh, yes. Love the swipe file.
What exactly is a swipe file? How do we use it?
It's like your personal treasure chest of inspiration.
I like that.
It's a collection of anything that sparks an idea, makes you think differently. Like quotes. Quotes, images, articles, snippets of conversation, color palettes, textures, anything that catches your eye.
Okay, so basically anything that gets those creative wheels turning.
Exactly. And you can keep it however you want.
Like a physical notebook, a digital folder.
Pinterest board, whatever works for you.
The point is to have all those sparks of inspiration easily accessible.
Even just the act of collecting these things can be so helpful.
How so?
It forces you to be mindful of what you're drawn to, pay attention to the details.
Train your eye to see things differently.
Yes. And then when you're feeling stuck,
You can go back to your swipe file.
see what reignites that spark.
It's like a personalized creative jumpstart kit.
I love that.
Speaking of getting unstuck, Cleon also has some interesting advice for overcoming creative blocks.
Like what?
Embracing limitations. It sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
How can limitations actually fuel creativity?
Right. We tend to think of them as obstacles.
Yeah, things holding us back.
But Cleon argues that they can actually spark breakthroughs.
Really?
Think about it. When we have unlimited choices,
It can be overwhelming.
it can be paralyzing.
We get stuck in decision fatigue.
Second-guessing ourselves, and it stifles our creativity.
So you're saying that by setting constraints,
We actually give ourselves a framework to work within
which can lead to more innovative solutions.
because we're forced to think outside the box.
That's interesting.
Cleon uses the example of haiku poetry.
Okay.
It has very strict rules about syllables and structure,
Right.
but within those limitations, poets create beautiful and moving work.
It's like those cooking shows where they give chefs a limited pantry.
And they have to make something amazing.
The restrictions force them to be more resourceful, more creative.
Exactly. And these limitations don't have to be external either.
Oh,
We can set them for ourselves.
like how?
Maybe you challenge yourself to write a story in under 500 words,
Or create a painting using only 3 colors.
or design a website with a limited palette.
It's about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
And seeing what happens when you have to work within certain parameters.
Sometimes the most creative solutions come from those constraints.
They force us to think differently.
Okay, I love how Cleon challenges so many assumptions about creativity. But
Yeah.
that whole be boring thing,
Right.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
I know it sounds so counterintuitive.
It does.
But remember, he's not talking about living a dull life.
Right.
It's about the power of routine and consistency.
To create the right conditions for creativity to flourish.
Exactly. Like, if you're constantly making decisions about what to eat, what to wear,
Help me check email.
it drains your mental energy.
Yeah, it can be exhausting.
But if you have routines for those things,
You free up brain power for the important stuff.
the creative work.
So it's not about being boring.
Right.
It's about setting yourself up for success.
By eliminating distractions and decisions.
It doesn't even have to be complicated, right?
Nope. Simple things like having a designated workspace.
Or carving out time each day for creative work.
Even just making your bed in the morning can help.
To start the day with a sense of order.
Those little habits add up to a more focused environment.
And they lead to big results over time.
Because remember, creativity is a marathon, not a sprint.
It's about showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it.
Trusting the process.
So not waiting for inspiration to strike.
but cultivating a creative practice that welcomes it.
By building those routines, embracing the boring stuff,
We actually give ourselves freedom to be more playful and experimental.
it's like setting the stage for the magic to happen.
That's where Cleon's advice is so brilliant.
He's not just giving us tips, he's giving us a whole new way of thinking about creativity.
And it's so empowering and liberating.
He reminds us that we don't need permission to be creative.
We can start right now with what we have, wherever we are,
And by embracing these principles, we can unlock our potential.
and create work that is meaningful and impactful.
But hold on, folks, because we got one more piece of this puzzle to explore. In part 3,
We're tackling the most challenging aspect of Cleon's philosophy, the art of subtraction.
that's where things get really interesting. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Steal Like an Artist.
And we've saved the most mind-bending concept for last.
The idea that creativity is subtraction.
It really does kind of flip everything on its head, doesn't it?
It does. Our instinct is always to add more.
More details, more features, more
I
everything.
think that's what makes our work better.
Right, but Cleon's like, hold on a second.
He suggests that sometimes the magic happens when we take things away.
To make our work stronger and clearer, more impactful.
So it's like a minimalist approach to creativity.
Exactly. Every element has to earn its place.
Nothing extra, just for show.
And that can be tough, I get it.
It can be really tough, especially when we're so attached to our ideas.
Like, it can feel like cutting off a limb.
Right. To get rid of something you put your heart and soul into.
Cleon acknowledges that, but he makes a strong case that this willingness to let go,
To be a ruthless editor of our own work.
that's what lets the true essence of our ideas shine through.
So it's about stripping away the clutter to reveal the gem underneath.
He uses a great analogy in the book comparing it to sculpting.
Oh,
Imagine a block of marble. That's the raw material of your idea.
okay.
And through careful subtraction, you chip away anything that isn't essential.
Until you're left with the pure form of your vision.
Powerful, right?
It really is. Less is more.
And it applies to everything.
Not just writing and design.
Nope. Music, anything really.
Give me an example.
Okay, in writing, it could mean cutting out words, phrases, even whole paragraphs.
To make the writing tighter.
more impactful, yeah.
And in design, maybe simplifying a layout, reducing colors.
Removing anything that's not necessary.
To create a sense of elegance.
And visual clarity.
What about music?
Think about stripping down a complex arrangement.
To the bare bones.
Letting the melody and harmony breathe.
I'm convinced this subtraction thing is powerful.
It is.
But how do we actually do it?
One thing you can do is ask yourself some key questions.
About your work.
Yeah, like, what's the core message here?
Right.
What elements are absolutely necessary to communicate that?
What can you remove without sacrificing the impact?
It's like filtering your work, getting rid of anything that doesn't have a clear purpose.
And getting feedback from others can be helpful too, right?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes we're too close to our own work.
We can't see the forest for the trees.
Exactly. A fresh perspective can help us identify what's not working.
Without being afraid to experiment.
Yes. Try removing different things. See what happens.
It's like playing with a puzzle.
Rearranging the pieces until you find the best solution.
The goal isn't to make something minimal or simplistic, though.
Right. It's about distilling your work down to its essence.
So that every word, every note, every brushstroke matters.
That's what creates that sense of clarity and impact.
That draws people in.
And that's the power of subtraction. It's not about limiting yourself.
It's about unlocking the potential of your ideas.
By getting rid of anything that gets in the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Steal Like an Artist,
Yeah.
what's the one big takeaway you hope people walk away with?
I think the most important thing is that this book is a call to action.
It's not just theory, it's giving us tools to use.
To unlock our own creativity.
Cleon's reminding us that creativity isn't some special gift
It's a skill.
that anyone can develop with practice and the willingness to try new things.
So go out there and steal like an artist.
Embrace your influences.
Experiment.
Don't be afraid to break the rules.
And remember,
Sometimes the most brilliant creations come from subtracting, not adding.
be bold, be brave, let your unique voice shine through.
That's all for this deep dive into Steal Like an Artist.
Until next time.
Keep those creative sparks flying.